Welcome to the Storytelling Castle, where we look at life through storytelling and TTRPGs. In this video, we're going to be going over all of the events of Critical Role Campaign 4, Episode 3, titled The Snipping of Shears. This episode clocked in at a whopping 5 hours, so this is going to be just the events of Episode 3, so that you can stay caught up with Campaign 4 in a lot less time. We will have a video out next week on the channel talking about all of the lore, all of the connections, and all things Ahriman, so subscribe now if you want to be caught up for that video too. If you need to catch up on episode 2 of Critical Role, head up to this video here for a quick recap. With all that said, let's get into the episode. We open on Tayor Pridesire, aka Travis Willingham, heading to a tailor shop to be outfitted by the Candescent Creed. Tayor is trying to get into the Candescent Creed so that he can be close to Sam Riegel's character, Wikander Halavar. Tayor is given a sack of gold and is sent on his way. As he's making his way to the tailor shop, he sees Julian Davinos, aka Matt Mercer's character, in the marketplace. The two exchange some terse pleasantries as they head off on their missions. Sir Julian was tasked in the last episode to find Octus Taconis, aka Alexander Ward's character, because his family is looking for him and it doesn't seem good. As the two talk, Tayor offers an allyship to Sir Julian, and Sir Julian realizes where Tayor is going.
In the Sundered Houses, you've heard some rumors. The Mercanod are a family that have worked for the Halavars for a long time, that have a lot of fronts, but their main purpose for the Halavars is making problems go away.
Sir Julian says absolutely nothing about this to Tayor and heads off on his way. We head to announcements and come back to Lord Wikander and Aspirant Tyranny in the basement subterranean dwelling underneath their villa where we left them in the last episode. Wick continues to grasp with everything that happened in the last episode. Everything he has believed and fervently believed in for his entire life has been a lie, and the Candescent Creed itself is built off of lies. The Photarch of the Candescent Creed, Wick's grandmother, tells him how she founded the Candescent Creed.
It was all taken from us. You understand? When the houses were sundered, our lands destroyed, we had to act. The Royce had their golden orchard, the Taconis, whatever they did, we used our will. We started trading. We had some holdings in other lands. We got back on our feet. If you can't be an empire, you take your licks, you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you start a church.
Wick and his grandmother continue to talk about some of his remaining duties, including marrying a noblewoman who owns a vineyard that is connected to the celestial powers that they covet. The grapes of the vineyard are also connected to a celestial power, which means that they will be able to easily disseminate this blood or whatever's coming out of the angel to the mass populaces. The Photarch tells Tyranny, who has known about all of this stuff the entire time, to go run Wick a nice bath and even possibly partake in some naughtier things. The Photarch is also very happy that Wick will finally stop reciting all of the Creed things to her because none of them have ever believed them. The two players head up to Wikander's very large and gaudy bath where they talk about everything that has been happening, and Wick is finally in on all of it now. Tyranny tells Wick that her family, a demon family, made a deal with the Halavars a long time ago, and they have been working together side by side for a long time. She also reveals that the contract that she signed is to him and not the Halavar family. So we're gonna have to see how that plays into all of this stuff going forward. Tyranny tells Wick that he could send her back to the Hells at any moment, and he does not do this and instead goes to save Tayor from whatever fate he may be having. Wick packs a few things, unsure of if or when he's ever going to come back, and the two of them leave. We then move to Murray Magnuson, aka Marisha Ray, in the Dean's office in the Pentevral, where we left her last episode. Murray and the Dean are confronted by Lord Primus Taconis, the father of Octus Taconis. Octus has apparently been at school there for 5 years, and his father wants him now for some reason. Octus is at the school because he did not inherit the sorceress abilities of the family and instead has had to learn how to use magic, which is very sorcerer and wizard coded. Murray is as brash as ever, and she upsets Lord Primus, causing him to use Subtle Spell to cast an upcasted Bestow Curse upon her. She succeeds on her saving throw and escapes this fate.
Had you not been able to resist the spell, you would have spent a length of time unknown to you rolling a wisdom save at the beginning of every turn, and if failing, not being able to take an action during that turn.
She tries to cast Detect Magic on Lord Primus to see what kind of magical vibe he's giving off. However, Dean Tallbarrel counterspells her spell and gets her to just get out of there and leave. As he chats with Lord Primus to distract him and make sure Murray gets out of there, Murray rolls a natural 1 on an insight check for the conversation that they're having, and it is devastating. She believes that he has fundamentally betrayed her and runs off to go find Azune so that he can help her with what's going on. We then cut to the bar fight that is happening between the Crow Keepers and our 3 players, Octus disguised as someone else, Thimble, and Cadigan Vale. Thimble is able to evade the man with the burlap sack, flying underneath him up to his manhood, and demands to know what's going on with Casimir. The battle continues, and the 3 characters roll terribly. It is really bad. Cadigan and Octus both fail their attack attempts, and the combat begins to go very much against them. Luckily for the trio, Valus was tailing them the whole time, and she bursts through the window and attacks the rogues. She first rolls a natural 2, continuing with the terrible rolling, but has advantage on her attack, and then rolls a nat 20. Seeing this elven woman burst in and kill 2 of the Crow Keepers, including the leader, Solomon, the rest of the rogues just run. They keep the second in command around to ask questions about Casimir, and he tells them everything that they need to know. Casimir was caught skimming off the top from the Crow Keepers and was put on their list of debts owed, which is essentially a death sentence. He owed a massive amount of gold, which they allowed him the chance to pay, and one day he came back in and paid for it all in full. Casimir betrayed them to someone clearly powerful and wealthy, as he had all of this gold to pay his debts and had a deed to a place in the north. Cid Pridesire, Teor's brother, confronts Casimir about this, and as the two argue, he steals the deed to the castle in the north and runs off with Casimir and his goons following him. Valus asks for a copy of that list of people who owe the Crow Keepers money, and the second in command gives her a ledger full of the names. The 4 of them depart for Helendil Fang's home, and we go to a break.
Everyone says stuff right before we come back, and they're all in trouble. And I'm keeping a tally, and the tally's running. TikTok, all you motherfuckers.
If everyone's awful, no one is.
He's a snitch.
We come back to a full table, and we start with Hal and Taisha as they go towards this massive ancient amphitheater. This is the property that Hal owns, and that was the deed that was in his office in the previous 2 episodes. This amphitheater is where orcs from days past would venerate their god, one of the Shapers. The orcish god was the Shaper of War, who would constantly and forcibly make them go fight all of the other races of Ahriman and trying to conquer Ahriman. This amphitheater has not been used in 70 years since the Shapers' War, and Hal is turning it into something new. Taisha has a tender moment with her daughter, and Bolaire arrives with the paint that Diazi Fang left him. Bolaire had run some tests on the paint and couldn't find anything other than just a magical something having to do with the paint. Essentially, the information he was able to glean is that this paint is either some kind of magic that he's never seen before, or it was sitting around in the Pentevral while magic was being done and got weird. Bolaire and Hal talk about the paint, and both of them wonder why Thiazi mentioned this paint in his final moments. After some more dialogue about the amphitheater not needing a concession stand and instead needing a gift shop, we head to Caravan Hill, a neighborhood in Dothraki, where Azune is doing his patrol. Murray is able to pull Azune away, and his fellow guard just thinks that the 2 of them are gonna go do something in the alleyway. The 2 talk to each other in their heads via the message cantrip, and both fill the other in on the nobles' incursions into their places of work. After some more confusion about what the 2 are doing in the alleyway from the other guard, the 2 head to the tavern of the Crow Keepers to go catch up with the group. From there, we move back to the tailor shop with Teor entering and meeting 2 creepy-looking twins. They offer him a sherry to drink and converse slightly as Teor casts Divine Sense. The two of them do not register as Fae, Fiend, or Undead. However, the incense they're burning reminds Teor of a 9-sided star on a battlefield of old. He begins to feel something physical from the incense, and Teor tells the two twins that he is there on behalf of the Candescent Creed to be outfitted. The two of them notice his pouch with the Candescent Creed's money, and this happens.
Well, for the photog, only the finest work is reserved. Lovely to see. Every time we can find white velvet, drool begins to emerge from his mouth. I'm going to need you to make 2 wisdom saving throws with disadvantage.
Ooh, 6. A 6, and that's 2 natural 1.
You are hit with 2 hold person spells at the same time as your body seizes. Exemplary. My shears, brother.
This scene ends, and we fast forward a little bit to when Wick and Tyranny show up at the tailor shop. The two of them enter the shop, and Tyranny succeeds on a persuasion check, thus being able to take Teor from his fate. Until this point, Wick has been completely oblivious as to what's going on in here, and when Teor comes back to them, he casts Lesser Restoration on him to try and relieve him of what he thinks is too much drinking. They step outside, and Tyranny reminds him of the consequences of all of these actions, and that they are making enemies now with his family and all of their associates. They head towards a place of known safety, which is Helendil Fang's home. The table does a full swap, and we head back to Sir Julian Davinos on his way to Helendil Fang's home earlier in the day to try and find Octus. An orcish woman who is looking over the house tells Sir Julian that Hal is not home, that he should be back later in the day. The group from the Crow Keepers fight come back at this point, and the 5 of them have a heated exchange between Thimble and Sir Julian. During these words, Octus reveals his normal voice through his disguise, and Sir Julian is able to clock that that is probably Octus. Sir Julian keeps up the facade that he doesn't know and tells the group that if they see Octus, he is in severe danger, and then leaves. Octus realizes that he might actually be in some severe danger and heads off with Pincushion, aka Pin, and Valus sees Pin and goes and picks him up and talks to Octus about it. As the two of them continue to walk, Sir Julian comes back, talking to Octus, telling him that his lady, Lady Arnessa, needs to speak with him. The 3 of them leave to head towards House Davinos and the relative safety there, and Matt, Ashley, and Alex all get up from the table as Travis, Sam, and Whitney come back to the table. Liam and Abria, as Hal and Taisha, come back to the house at this point, talking to Thimble and Cadigan about what happened. Taisha is incredibly concerned for Octus and wild shapes into a wolf and runs off to go find him. Brennan has Luis and Marisha come back as Azune and Murray go through the crime scene and talk to witnesses, and Azune realizes that Valus is in severe trouble. While the Crow Keepers are probably too scared of Valus to do anything to her, they're going to go to the Revolutionary Council, and all of this information is enough for the Revolutionary Council to try and do something to Valus. Azune and Murray arrive at Hal's home just in time for the information about Teor to come to Hal from his kind of information network. Thimble tells everybody that she wants to get out of town and chase down Casimir in the land of Gorome. Teor, Wick, and Tyranny arrive, and everyone gets filled in on what's going on with everybody. As Hal kind of thinks about what he's going to do and which group he's going to go with, we find out that Thiazi's old sword was one of the God Killer swords. After much discussion, Teor pledges himself to protecting Wick as he saved his life, and Wick, Tyranny, Thimble, Cadigan, and Teor all head off to the north in the middle of the night to go find Casimir. Thus, our first table, the soldier table, is created, and actually we find out in the cooldown, which is the Beacon exclusive after show talk, that the soldier table actually has a night off. They are not going to be in episode 4. The other 2 tables, the schemers and the seekers, are going to be formed in episode 4. We then move back to House Davinos, where Octus is talking to Lady Aranessa about what's going on, and she's trying to find out why his family wants him so bad. He doesn't really know, and while they're talking, Valus hears the sound of a nightingale as well as a wolf call off in the distance. None of the other humans in the room can hear this, so she feels a magical connection to it, and she goes out and realizes that she needs to keep a door open for this wolf that's coming. The wolf is Taisha in wolf form, and the two, because of some magical connection that they have, can see each other from a very far distance away, with Taisha sprinting towards Octus. Sir Julian chats briefly with his father and hesitates about saying anything else, and then goes and talks to Valus for a little bit. Valus realizes that Sir Julian is cursed, and as this information is being given to Valus out of the darkness, this happens.
You feel your divine sense pulsing. Julian's cursed, and as your divine sense reaches out, that curse is not the most troubling thing here. This garden, beyond Julian, is filled with hundreds and hundreds of specters of the restless dead, just on the other side of the veil. Walking out on the steps to the garden, you see General Raymond looks out at you. Julian, I wanted to say, a hand from an invisible figure reaches forward as the invisibility is dropped, and a black-clad member of House Taconis reaches their hand up immaterially through the skin under his jaw, reaches inside his head, and pulls his skull out of his head immaterially. Letting go, it becomes corporeal again, and suddenly the upper half of his spinal cord and skull is out in front of the flesh of his head, and he dies instantly, collapsing to the ground. Upstairs, with a knock on the door, Aranessa opens for the servant to bring the bedclothes. The door creaks and suddenly stops creaking as a silence spell fills the room. You see 6 black-clad figures wearing Taconis symbols. As their heads rise, you see the vacancy of 6 ghouls, full undead, gazing out at you. And in the midst, you see here your brother, Ethrend, casting a silence spell, holding in his hand perfectly spherical black stone, wings surrounding it. He looks speaking in silence. No sound travels, but his lips mouth the words, which is enough for the undead that he commands. Put him on the table, open him up, and we'll put the stone where it belongs.
That's the end of this week's episode, and boy, is there so much to unpack here. As a reminder, we will have a video out next week talking about all of the connections, all of the world building, all things Ahriman, so subscribe now if you want to stick around so that you don't fall even more behind with Campaign 4. Let us know down in the comments what your favorite moment is of Campaign 4 so far. Thank you for watching this episode from the Storytelling Castle, and we hope you enjoy all of the stories to come.